Imagine flying smarter, hands-off, silky smooth. The helicopter takes care of the cruise for you with stability and simplicity. That's the promise of HeliSAS, a helicopter autopilot and stability system which is new to the Cowan Simulation fleet of helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator and tested here in MSFS 2024. With just 6 simple buttons and with a bit of know-how, you can pick up like a pro and fly safely within the envelope while wowing your friends with just how very smooth you are. Cowan Simulation has been so busy lately. It's not long since the S76 came out, and that's a detailed, complex simulation, one of my favourite releases this year. And now Cowan & Co. are in the process of updating their entire catalogue of MSFS 2020 helicopters with this simple but surprisingly powerful tool. If you already purchased these machines in 2020, then HeliSAS is available to you now in the RS66, the H125, the 206B3 and 206L3, and in the 500E as well. The Bell 222, that one's a bit more complicated, and that one will follow soon. In this video, I'll show you what every button does, and I'll do my best to demonstrate all the features on a quick demo flight before I explore the value of this development. So hop on board, enjoy the smooth ride, and let's fly. And I'm on home territory for this one. This is Essendon Airport in Melbourne, and here is our Australian registered Cowan Simulations Bell 206 L3 Long Ranger. Long because it's been lengthened and has got a bigger cabin than the B3. That's what it looks like. It looks alright in 2024. This is a natively built 2020 machine, but that's looking just fine. Let's hop inside though and start to look at what we're going to do on this demo flight with the HeliSAS. Now, I have had some issues getting all of this to work properly together. What I have discovered is that the HeliSAS down here appears to be fed only by this GPS. So we're not to get any kind of expectation that the G3X up here will be driving this. It doesn't. This GPS does. And in this case, I've loaded the PMS 50 GTN 750. And I've got all my waypoints in here for my flight plan. Here is the flight plan, by the way. Let me get to the right screen. So the flight plan starts up in Essendon, takes us down to the Westgate Bridge in Melbourne, Altona South, Laverton, and then we get on to the approach. So the initial approach fix Macat. I can show you on here. Macat says 3,000. I might probably be aiming for 2,500 to make the intercept a bit easier. Otherwise, I'll be doing too many things at once, even with the help of the SAS. So that is what the plan looks like over here. I've loaded that up in here as well. I like to get maybe a couple more things set up here. One, I want to get that 1095 frequency in here for the localizer, and I want to get the Avalon VOR in here as well. And something we can do over here, we can get the bearing VLOC 1, VLOC 2, and we get the, I haven't transferred that, I get the, there it is, the Avalon VOR sitting at about 29 nautical miles there, great, and the localizer ready to come alive when we are in range. Westgate Bridge is our first waypoint. I'm going to be kind of steering manually. So let's just talk about what this system down here offers. Right, here is the new HeliSAS panel, or HeliSAS, as it's named here. So what are these different modes? Well, the white light on SAS, or Stability Augmentation System, means that the system is in standby. If I click that button once, we're green, we're active. So that's what I want. I want us to be able to take off with SAS on, and I'll show you what that's like. Heading mode allows you to select a heading with the normal knob here. So you can select your heading over here, no worries, and then that will be the heading that it holds. So that's pretty simple. Nav will follow an LNAV the LNAV source that you choose over here. So what have I got? I've got lock 1 in there right now. That's because that's what the GTN 750 is asking for. So what I should do is get the map here. Here we go. CDI. Get that onto GPS. That says GPS. And now that, because this is set to external GPS, which is what you want it on, you want your G3X up here to be on the external GPS. And then that comes up over here. Perfect. So this is looking okay just now. Right, so we can just put this way back. Yes, fine. I can have the map here. This works all right. Map, and we'll just have the aircraft track facing up. Good. All right. Now, where was I? That was nav mode. So nav mode follows effectively the CDI source that you've got on this GPS. And the default 530, I didn't find that great. So this one, the 750, seems to be performing better. Okay, that's nav. Now, speed and alt kind of go hand in hand because you can only have one of these at a time. Because this SAS unit does not have collective coupling, that was me just doing that manually, it can only do one of these at a time. If I select speed, the HeliSAS will maintain the speed, or try to maintain the speed at the time at which I push that button. And then if I go up or down on the collective from that point, it'll be increasing or decreasing the rate of climb. So that's the effect of going into speed. Going into alt will hold the altitude at the time it was when you hit the alt button. So you're not selecting your altitude with a bug, and you're not using a vertical speed selector to get there. That's up to you and your control over the collective. So when I'm in alt mode, the collective, up or down, is increasing or decreasing the speed because we're already holding an altitude. So that's the difference between those two keys there, and only one of them can be active at a time. When you select one, the other one will turn off. Vertical mode. Now that is, we'll demonstrate that hopefully on our ILS approach. That's sort of your VNAV component of this. I haven't tested it with an RNAV approach yet, but I would hope that that follows through with your vertical mode over here as well. Vertical mode can only go on when nav mode is on, and any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modes can only go on when we have passed 44 knots indicated, and we need to have SAS on initially. So that's the lineup down there. Now, so what are we looking like here? We've got everything in the green. Our fuel quantity is good. And so I think we can pick up. We'll be thinking about making this left-hand turn to get us down to the Westgate Bridge. I'm not going to get us into heading mode initially because I want to show you that we can also steer with the hat switch. So why don't I just get that up here now so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so we're ready to lift. So now I want to go left cyclic and aft cyclic and lifting collective with some left pedaling as well. Maybe not quite that much left cyclic. Just feeling what it wants to do. Wants a bit of aft, sort of forward cyclic now. Last time I wanted a bit of aft, so maybe the wind's just changed very slightly. So that was a little bit wobbly, but we have achieved a stable hover here thanks to the SAS. And if I go on the external view, that's what the SAS is allowing me to do. Just very hard to steer when you're in the external view. Just hold a steady hover here, and I'm not really having to do very much. It's very soft and stable. So let's lift a bit of cyclic, collective I should say, and pitch down the nose with the cyclic. And I'll get right up to the top of the green torque band there. Okay, great. And pitching down, collecting speed as we get on our way. So it'll be a left-hand turn to get down to the Westgate Bridge. 80 knots. Up we go. Everything's in the green. And we're heading that way. Let's go. Oh, we're going to ignore the ATC, which I evidently did not turn off, so that's still going. There's the Tullamarine Freeway with no one on it, so that's a bit unrealistic. Very busy piece of road. Okay, so that's the Westgate Bridge, sort of just below the horizon there. And so let's start to think about what we're going to do with the SAS. I think we go head tracking off now. We're at 110 knots, and I think what we can do is highlight speed at this point. So the helicopter's going to maintain our speed. Let the stick come back to the center. Right, so now I'm hands off, but we're climbing a bit fast, so I'll just nose down a bit. But we're climbing way too fast. And so I want to level off at about 1,500 feet. And I'm just using the hat switch just to give us a little bit more nose up attitude. Maybe not quite that much. It's a little bit of a fine art getting used to how this works. So there's 1,500, and I'm just going to ask alt to come on. And so you notice that speed then comes off. And so I might need to lower the collective here to allow it to rebalance itself. If you have everything too high, it will struggle to do what you want it to do. So you need to monitor this. It's not a 6-axis autopilot. It's really just doing your attitude for you. And so once we get onto 1,500 feet there, we'll make sure we don't lose too much speed. Lifting the collective, then it'll just balance itself again. So just getting this right now. I'll lower the collective a bit much perhaps. Looks like it's going to come right here. So, look, what else can we do with the hat switch? There's the Westgate Bridge to our lower left. I can steer with the hat switch, actually. I can do very gentle turns like that. That's one option open to you. And back over to the right. Try and get over the Westgate. That's just steering only with the hat switch. Right, that was too much. I feel like it was sort of fighting me there for a while, but now, there we go. So that certainly came to life. Right, so I want to get into nav. Now, we've got GPS here. Well, crucially, we've got GPS down here, which means that it will be up here as well. So when I hit nav, this will either... It's gone straight to green. So if you are not near the flight path here, it will stay white initially. So it will be white when it hasn't yet captured, and it will go to green when it has captured, which is what it has done now. So we're looking good. We're at 115 knots. We're at 1,500 feet, or a tiny bit above, and we have captured the flight path. And so now the HeliSAS is doing pretty much all the work for me. I'm hands off, and I can just sort of enjoy the ride at this point. That's very nice. Well, here is the situation. We have got 5 nautical miles to go to Macat, so we just need to do a left-hand turn to get onto the ILS. And in the meantime, I have climbed up to 2,500 feet. I achieved that by going into speed mode and pulling collective until I got up to 2,500 feet, and then I hit the Alt key. And that maintained at 2,500, and I just reduced the speed slightly. I've got a hunch that intercepting at 115 or 120 might be a little bit fast for it to be able to cope with the intercepting the glide slope. So we'll have to see how that goes. 3.8 nautical miles. My idea here is that I want to cut this off a little bit. So I'm going to do a 45-degree turn here with the... I might just get this in now with the heading hold, something like that, but I'll implement it here so that the angle to intercept is a bit less. And so what that means is I will go to heading, so nav will come off. I will flip the CDI, this one, so that it is reading from VLOC 1. That's this one here, the ILS, 11.9 nautical miles to go there. And when it looks like that's all correct on here, then I can re-engage nav, and it should then be white, and will turn green when it captures and we cross that line. I would like to also engage vertical mode, which I can't do until I'm in nav mode again. So I can't do anything about that just yet. So how's that looking there? Not bad. I'm just doing that with the twiddling the heading knob on my throttle controller. I think we'll go now. So heading, and off that one goes. Now I flip the CDI to VLOC. VLOC 1, that looks good. So I'm going to ask for it to intercept nav. It's already got it. It's already got it. How interesting. It's turning further than I thought it would. No, something's gone wrong. So why is it doing that? We're in localizer. We're in VLOC. I asked for it to go to nav, but then it started a rather sudden left turn. Why is that? It's coming in now, the bar. We'll try that one more time. It's not coming in actually, so we are white now on the nav. I think when the bar starts moving in, then it will go to green to capture. I don't know what happened that first time. Very curious. And now that's coming in. I'm just going to help it by starting the bank now, by moving the heading bug over. This should turn green. There it is. Whoa, that's a sudden capture. Not very smooth, but we sort of got there. Oh, and there we go. I should go vertical mode right now because the glide slope was coming in during that rather confusing course of events. And so now 500 feet there, we're gaining speed, we're on the glide slope. Now, where is the helicopter turning to? It's gone past where I want it to go. So I'm going to again try and get it to capture. That's counting now as a bit of a fail. So vertical mode's gone out now as well. Nav, invert once more. Yes. Interesting, very interesting. So that was not a complete success. I've done this on a practice run and that's captured that just fine, so I don't know what is different about this. Localizer 1, VLOC, nav. I can't see why it's having trouble picking that up. Well, here we go again. The bar is coming in, so what will it do this time? It's going to capture. That looks good. We are green. We are green on vertical mode as well. We're right on the glide slope. This looks successful this time. So what's different? I have no idea. I have no idea. So the system is not doing all that it needs to do just yet. I did a practice run and that was all fine previously, and that time it didn't quite work. It was turning left for no reason. I'm lowering the collective now, and so the speed is reducing whilst the autopilot handles the pitch to keep us on the glide slope. And in case you're wondering, where's the runway? There's the runway. So it's kind of worked in the end. It's just that I had to do it twice. That wasn't great. And I just wonder if we're now just coming off it slightly. So we're still nav invert. That's good. Just looks like we're just off the localizer path there somewhat, and you can kind of see it visually as well. It's within the tolerance for me to take over manually. I'm going to have to take over manually anyway. This is not like the Cowan Sim S76 where I can hit decel and it will smoothly decelerate until I'm over the center line of the runway. Looks like it is coming in actually, so maybe it's repairing whatever just happened. 4 nautical miles left on the localizer, and we're closing in at 105 knots indicated. That's looking pretty nice now. So it's kind of got itself together. What was that strange left-hand turn all about? Seems like it's not fully stable for every scenario yet. I've done approaches where it ended up porpoising above and below the glide slope and got a bit confused. Well, it's done it beautifully now. I just touched the collective a bit lower, so the speed will be reducing now. And look at that. It's done what it needs to do at this late stage. So what I'm going to do is take off nav, and I'm going to now take over manually to get us onto that second taxiway, the one just after the Pappy there. So I'm going to go nose up to lose speed. Speed's coming down beautifully. Raise the collective slightly. 40 knots, that's good. 30 now. Raising the collective again. Nosing down. Don't want to lose too much speed here. Ultimately, not too bad. Just I was a little bit disappointed with the performance of the nav and what it was. I had to intervene to stop it from doing some strange left-hand turn where it didn't need to do it. This hover taxi is very easy in this machine. Nose down. Get ourselves moving here again. Good. Excellent, 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 excellent. Really good feeling with the SAS on. SAS is still on. That's the only mode on now. Remember, the other modes do not work when we are below 44 knots indicated. So is this worth upgrading? Well, if you already own a CowanSim product like the R66, either of the two Jet Rangers, the Jet Ranger and the Long Ranger that is, the 500E, they're all getting upgraded with the system that I've just demonstrated for you. These are Remain 2020 native aircraft, and they've been tested in 2024, and we can see they're largely working. There's a few quirks in the HeliSAS there, I think. And so now CowanSim will need to decide how much effort it's going to put into converting these existing aircraft into native 2024 aircraft. And I don't know if Josh Cowan has decided yet exactly what the next course of action is. Maybe he has, I'm not sure. He has indicated on the channel that 2024 native versions of his existing fleet represent more than an update. It's an upgrade. And so his thinking is that that process to bring these existing aircraft into 2024 will not be free for the customer. And as far as I can ascertain, there is a lot of work involved in making a machine or any aircraft fully native in 2024 and not just a 2020 version that is compatible. That's a whole different equation. And we're just going to gently set this down now. It's popped up there with the ground effect. There we go. Back skid is hit. And now I lower the collective all the way and I can reduce the throttle. We'll get a horn in a moment. There it is. Stop that. Good. Landing light comes off. That comes off. So the reason I'm talking about this is that you might be attracted to the idea of flying a Bell 206 B3 or L3 or R66 or 500E in 2024 with one of these native 2020 versions that exist today that have the HeliSAS updated. at no cost. However, if you purchase that today, you might need to understand that the upgrade process to bring these aircraft fully native into 2024 has not yet been charted, and it is not likely to be free to do that. So you can do exactly what I have done today, right now in 2024, with one of these 2020 aircraft that have been updated with this HeliSAS, which is mostly really successful. You can have that right now. You can purchase from Cowan Simulations, or you can purchase from the MSFS marketplace. It's a little bit behind, so if you want the fastest updates, you'll purchase from CowanSim. I believe that Josh Cowan is moving his future projects to be marketplace exclusives, but these 2020 versions are still available through his website if you choose to purchase through that method. But you just need to be aware that you might be paying something again. I don't know how much. I don't know what that process will entail. If you want to have the native 2024 version, if he does indeed do it. So there's a few questions that aren't yet answered, but you can have what I've shown you today right now. So that's over to you and your sense of the value of what these 2020 products offer you if you're operating yourself in 2024. The vast majority of my audience on YouTube, I have polled them, and you have spoken, and the vast majority are using 2024. And these 2020 machines still work. They've been tested for compatibility. And then it's really over to you about whether you want to spend your dollar or euro or pound on these 2020 editions and get the value that I've demonstrated to you today. I think it's fun. I like what I'm seeing in the HeliSAS. The S76 has a more sophisticated autopilot than this. You can do much more with it, and more possibilities, more flexibility. And I've done plenty of videos on that, so I'll put up a link now to something that demonstrates some of the really comprehensive autopilot functionality that the S76 offers you from CowanSim. Again, that's another 2020 native, but I think it's working fabulously in 2024. So for me, I would suggest that one is definitely worth it. I think that value proposition is pretty clear. So that's the equation, people. It's over to you to think about what might work for you. I look forward to reading what your thoughts are in the comments. Those are open, of course, and I will try to reply to everyone. So there you have it, people. That is my initial flight experience with the Cowan Sim HeliSAS or HeliSAS in a 2020 native helicopter of his design. And I think it has a lot of promise. I think it's been an interesting experience. Not completely fault-free, but there will be further developments, I should think, and the decision's open to you. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And of course, I hope to see you in another video real soon. See you next time. Bye.